Good morning, everybody. This is Becky here at Aunt Beck's Creations, and I've dumped my stuff out just to kind of show the stuff we're going to use. We went over all this stuff last week, and what I'm doing right now is I found on one sheet of paper that was in here, there was these butterflies or moths that have, like, they're numbered. So I thought I'd use those until I've used them up or whatever page we're working on. So I have for today, this is the number 1. I'm going to use this one for number 2. And this one has a number 3 on it. So I'm going to use those 3 on our pages. So that'll be one of my elements. And when I say that, I'm kind of thinking, let's keep each page to just 5 pieces of whatever you use. So you count off and make sure you have 5 pieces. Like Sharon Lombard just sent me these goodies here, and there's these letters. If I was going to use these, I would use these as one item, like create a word using these. Or I think this may be a full sticker, but you could punch these out with a punch and use the individual letters if you wanted. So I'm just going to go through until 6:30. At 6:30, we will put a page or 2 together. I did use these punches on the butterfly paper to punch those out. So that's why they're out. I'm going to set them aside. We might need them again. And then I kind of want to just put together, 5 things. I guess we need to step back and talk about the index cards. You can use any size index card that you want. What I've done is I have a bunch of these great big ones that I would never use in a cookbook, and I just cut them in half. And if I remember right, these are now 4 by 5, I think. Yeah, 4 by 5 or 10 centimeters by 13 centimeters ish. So that's why I have this big one out, just to show that I cut this in half. And we'll set that aside. And I think the first thing I want to do is I want to create my page holes so that I can have them ready. So when I'm done, and I can just bind the pages. I don't have to worry about the holes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of my sheets, and I'm just going to make a template using it. And so I'm going to put this on page template so I don't accidentally use it as a page, because then I don't have to do this over and over if you make your page up in advance. So I think I'm going to come 1/4 inch down from the top. So I'm going to put this at a half because my ruler is kind of messed up, and just mark the 1/4 inch line there. Quarter inch line there. And then we'll just draw a line. And I have decided I'm going to do my journal kind of weird. Mine's going to flip from the top. So this will go this way. And so the next page will be here. And so this page will actually be worked upside down because I want to be able to flip it and look at it. You'll see what I mean as we go along. But if you want to do your page this way, feel free. All right, and then I want to center this. So I'm going to line that. See, my ruler doesn't actually start at the end of the ruler. It starts here. So I'm going to mark this at 2 inches, 1 inches, 3 inches. So I have 3 holes. I could space those a little bit farther apart. Let's not do that. Let's see. So I'm going to erase those marks. That's why I did it in pencil. Maybe we'll do 1 1/4 inch from the center mark. So mark it at 2 and then come back over here to 3 1/4. And so this one would be at 3/4 of an inch, because I want some space in between. So these are where I'm going to put my holes, just like that. And I'm just going to punch them with a punch, handheld punch, and try to center it the best you can. All right, that one's a little off, but they're all going to be exactly the same, because as I do a page, I'll get my template and I'll just lay it down here, and we'll go ahead before we even start working, and we'll use the template to punch our hole. All right, so there we go. So this one's ready to be used, and I'll leave this with these. So we'll do one page together here shortly. So that's how you prep the pages. You can see it's a little off, isn't it? That's going to drive me mad. I might have to redo my template. So don't use this side. I'm going to do that again. This is when it would be handy to have one of those little punches that does the 3 holes. I have one that does 2 holes, but all right, I'm going to do another line about 1/8 of an inch from my first line, and that's as far as I will go with the punch. Give myself a place to stop. Maybe that'll help me to keep them in line better. So I'll just stop my punch at that line. Go. That's better. This one I'll just use for something else. You could even use it, instead of trying to hold the punch and punch through, you could just draw your circles and then punch them if you're more comfortable doing that. Let's see how I do with that. I'm having trouble with my hands. I've already dropped my phone twice this morning. I was glad I didn't sling coffee everywhere. I don't know what's going on. My hands are acting weird. There we go. That looks better. Much better. Okay. So now I can set those aside here. So remember, I want to choose 5 things for each page. So I have 1, 2, 3, because I was thinking I would do 3 pages this morning, but we'll see how long this takes me to put 5 things together. So maybe I'll put that washi tape there to go with that one. Maybe put that with that, and that with that. Or maybe this one. This one has more moths on it. And then I can put the rest of my washi aside. So that's 2 items. So I just need 3 more items for each page. So maybe we'll just tear a little piece of that for there. And I'm just randomly grabbing things. This piece of gel plate that I did some paint marks on was actually done by Devin Rex. So she did the background print of that. So that's enough of the painty papers. Because remember, I have all sorts of things. So I'm going to slide those back in my bag. Tomorrow I will have all of this figured out before I go live. I just kind of wanted to show the process really of how I put the things together. So now each pile has 3 things. So maybe stick a piece of that here. And let's see here. Let's just randomly reach in here and see what we get. All right, now we need 1 more piece for the first one. I have all these little pre-cut squares that somebody sent me. Stick that there. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So maybe just 1 more thing for each pile, and we'll see what we can come up with. For each page. I have my pages that I put napkin on. And if you decide you want to do more than, 5 things on a page, you can. I just thought it might be interesting to try to limit yourself. All right. So this was number 1. This is number 3. Well, let's see what we can do with 5 pieces of paper. I don't want this to be a real involved journal. I want you to be able to just go, go, go. All right. So here's our index card. If you want to, you could ink your edges and stuff. And since I inked the edges on the butterfly, I'm going to ink my edges on this stuff too. And if you want your background, you could paint that. And this one, I wasn't planning to leave any borders. I just was going to cover the page. I think think I'll put this on with glue stick. You decide if you want to trim it even with the edges of the page. That's entirely up to you. I was thinking I might just glue it down and let things stick off the edges, so it could be very Diane Fago. What I could do here is tear this diagonally, and I could use a piece under up here, and I could put a piece under down here, and then that way my background would be just about covered up. So let me ink those. And I'm still using just the 5 pieces. I tore one in half, and that's the only thing that made a difference. And use whatever glue you want to. I might just use this Scotch glue stick here. I don't really need to ink the diagonal edge because it's going to be covered under the other page. Some of this might show, so I'll just ink it whether I need to or not. All right. Let me get my gluing book out here. And just get some glue stick. I just want this to be something even a beginner could do and just not stress about it. You're just grabbing 5 things and you're going to glue them down. Kind of make your colors all go together. So the first paper you pick, or like the butterfly, try to pick papers that go with that, and you'll be surprised how quick your pages will come together. If you use one particular material or fabric or whatever, and then choose your colors from inside it, it does most of the work for you in deciding how to come up with a color scheme. And when you're just beginning journaling, that's the easiest way to do it until you can identify the colors that you can match up. I did buy myself some wet ones at Dollar General the other day. And they actually rang up $1, and then it said $1 off. So I thought, I just got these wet ones for free, basically. I should go back and see if I can find some more of those. So if you pre-do some things like add napkins to book pages or whatever, then you have fodder to choose from. And it makes your pages go together that much quicker because you're not having to wait on glue to dry. Of course, my grand kitty is digging at the door because she wants back in or back out. All right. And you can see how the page just comes together. Looks like I'm about to run out of that glue stick. And of course, you could add a quote. You could add a quote to it after you put your 5 things down. Feel free to add an additional quote if you want to, and then bam, your page is done. Add your signature and the date. And what I want to do is have my elements ready and just come on and quickly put together a page with you each morning in January, because we'll continue this in January. I'm not going to glue that one down just yet. I have this tape that I could put on here, and then we have our butterfly. So I'm thinking I might do that. I have more glue sticks. I just need to grab one. So good morning to anybody that's watching, and thank you for being here. If you don't have access to scrapbook paper or anything like that, you can just take a magazine and take a page out of a magazine or an old book and run some paint on it. You know, whatever you have to make color with, add color to the whatever page you have. And I'm going to put a piece of this across the middle of here. And then you have painty paper that you can use. So you aren't really limited on your supplies unless you limit yourself, because you can make color with anything. You could color paper with your makeup if you wear makeup. I don't wear makeup. You know, just think about different ways, different things around your house that has color on it, and go from there. Piper, just a minute, honey. These cats aren't spoiled in this house. Not at all. And I can glue this down here. And I could say that page is done if I wanted to. So the next thing I need to think about is the fact that I'm designing my book to open from the top. So the next page will be where I flip this one up. So the next page will look upside down because the holes will be at the bottom, but they're really at the top. So I'm going to put this on here. I got to go let the grand cat in or out to the bonus room. So there's my first page in my index journal. Give me just a sec. I'm coming, Piper and Cole. All right. Go. And we can get some wet ones over here. And these are the wet ones I picked up at the Dollar General. And it rang up $1 and then it gave me a discount of $1. So to me, that I picked them up for free. I think they're supposed to smell like coconut and melon, which we'll see if I can tolerate that. Hi, Josie. So I do have a date stamp that I like to use on little journals like this. So let me see here. It is, oh, I haven't used it in a while. Let's see what's the date on here. It's November 20th. So I know I need to go to December. And so the second number needs to go to 2. That's 9. December 22nd, 2025. That sounds right. Let's see here. Put it down here. $20.25. All right, and then I can put I'm just going to put my initials, RAM. All right, so there's date number 1. So I'm going to flip this way because that's the way my book will go. So I'm going to do my next page here. And I have my little wine corkscrews. It looks like I need to pull a strip off. And I can glue that down, but let's ink it. I think everybody's pretty sleepy, Josie. After Christmas, I'll pull out the quilt tops and do live showing the bins of quilts. I might just do one bin at a time because I have a bunch of quilt tops that I can't afford to pay somebody to long arm quilt them. So it's up to me to get them done. But my problem is, as you will notice if you're new to my channel, is I do a little of everything, whatever the mood strikes me. And if I want to decide to start and learn something new, I just go. Even if I already have all these other things to work with. And the reason I have so many supplies is I worked at Joann's for about 10 years. And I worked for Michael's for 5 years. And over that time, you know, with an employee discount, this stuff has been bought over a 15-year period or more, probably more like 20 years. And I thrift a lot of my supplies. I'm going to go ahead and ink all the things I have here. I got to keep telling myself, don't flip this page because I need it to be upside down to work in the book I'm just doing. Because remember, my book is going to flip up instead of to the side. I got a piece of Devin Rex's work to add to my book. And I was going to just do the first 3 pages this morning. I still have to read my children's book for today. I'll do that in a separate video live thing. And then I've got the tape. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Put that over here. And we'll glue this down. Whoops. And my arm is knocking things off the table. This is the one that's empty, isn't it? Hi, Anne. And again, you can use any size index card that you have. I just know that I have a ton of index cards. I pick them up at the thrift store all the time. I also have Rolodex cards. You could do a Rolodex little journal. Just put 5 things down on your page and say you're done. You can always go back through and add quotes if you want to. I thought this corkscrew napkin was so cool. And I'm going to leave all this raw edge off the side of my journal because I'll be opening it up from the bottom up. So that could go there. And then the piece from Devin can go here. And then the little butterfly we could stick on like that. And then a piece of this or 2 or 3 could go on there. So let's just glue these down. Let's see, we need to do this one first. I want this to be something you can do in like 30 minutes or less each day. And by the end of January, we'll have over 30 pages because, of course, I might just do, 31 pages and let that be it. So I'll only need to do 20-something more after this morning because I'm doing 3 pages this morning. So thanks to Devin, Yolande, I have a piece of her work going in my index journal. I put a lot of glue on this one, and because that paper's a little thicker. No long arm quilter there? Yeah. I have a friend that's a long arm quilter, but she lives in Maine. So it would cost me, to pay her to do it and then to ship it to Maine from South Carolina. It just wouldn't, there just ain't no doing that. I do have 2 wooden frames that when my house gets back together, maybe I could set one up and I could work on a quilt in the front room while Scott's watching something. All right, so I have this cool here. Let's just put a line of this down here, maybe on the bottom here. I'm putting glue down because this is washi tape and it doesn't always stick. So I always use a little bit of extra glue. I wish I had a brown pen. I have this Zig marker, and this one we could do like they did and do number 2. I guess that worked okay. Number 2. I'm trying to decide if I want to put more of this on here. Maybe some this way too. I think I like that. Let's put a little glue down. I have a quilter star sewing machine, and it's got a walking foot, and that does help. But on a big quilt, I really need to be able to set up on my dining room table because you've got to maneuver all that fabric around, and it's hard on a small table. I feel like it needs something else. But I'm going to go with the get your 5 things down and then think about it. My D was in the hole, but you know what? I'm not going to worry about it. Go. All right, so my next page will be at the bottom. So I need to take my template that we made, and we'll get some holes in this one. Scott's sister arrived yesterday, and his brother and his wife, they left yesterday. So they're tag team in care of mother. And I'm taking care of David's cats because they needed a break. They've gone on a cruise. So I'm kitty sitting. And that cat shirt I wore yesterday totally freaked their orange cat out. He was like, I'm not coming near you. You're weird. It was right funny. But I felt kind of bad for the cat because he was like totally freaked by that shirt. I might cover this whole thing and then repunch my holes from the back side. That's why I punch the holes now, because once I put something on here that hangs over the pages, it's going to be hard to get the page down. So I just need to put glue all over my index card is what I need to do on this one. I needed to keep that AARP that came in, and I bet Scott pitched it in the trash, because that's what I use for my gluing is I get my AARP magazine and use it. Glue, 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 glue. Put the glue on it. So this is our number 3 day. And see, that one, I could go back and put a quote right in here, and that would look cool. So I might put together some, or get some quotes out of my quote book or page, and I can punch these out. Repunch the holes where the paper covered it. There we go. So the holes are back. And then we've got this weird stuff that's actually, if you get this wet, it's sticky. So when I put glue on here, it's going to be sticky. Sticky, sticky, sticky. This one might need another piece of paper or something just to balance it back out. Let's see here. Remember, I said if you decided you need to revisit your paper pile, feel free. I thought I had some things that looked like postage. It's got a bird on it. And I'm finding some quotes that we could add. There's things, maybe we can cut some words out. Whew, it's getting warm in here under this light. Hi, JL. You're welcome. Well, they could be finished pages. I mean, they've got a focal image. But if you wanted to do, you could add a quote to it. That one I would consider finished. This one, I think it needs a little something, something. Like on here, it says, see the world. This has got different things. We might go back and add one of those to each of our pages. Ooh. Ooh, this might be just what we need. And then this little bit of dark could be sneaking out here somewhere. Maybe I might use a different piece than this. Might decide that one's just too dark and grab something else from my pile. All right, let's ink some things up. Try not to think about this too hard. As long as the colors kind of go together, just layer them up till they look pleasing to you. Get rid of some of that that's too white on there. There we go. There we go. Age that piece with the ink. All right, I've been on nearly an hour, and I've got 3 pages about done. This one's already inked. All right. Let's glue this one down. You could also add, pen marks. Make a border with a pen if you wanted to. Even just a stitchy border or a sketchy border would be cute. And just use the glue you have. It's just an index card journal. You don't have to think about it being, hi Lala. It's okay. It's early. It's still early. So I think I'm going to go that way with this one. Scott only has to work today and tomorrow, and then he'll be off till after the new year. Yay! So you know what that means. He, he, he. Or you know what Becky hopes that means. I hope that means the floors will get done. And I can put the rest of my house back together so I can feel like I'm in a house instead of a work zone. The kitchen the floor still needs to be done in there, but it's not on the part of the kitchen I use. It's on the eat-in area that we don't really utilize as an eat-in area anymore. You've been crocheting since 3. I woke up and I think I arched my back too far in my sleep. So I was in agony with my back. So I got up and I went and I got in the chair, and then I woke up and my stomach muscles were hurting. So I think I overcompensated trying to make my back feel better. So I made my stomach hurt. It was not a very good thing. Use that wet one on there a little bit because I had glue came through the holes. So now maybe we want to put a piece of this tape if we can find the beginning. And just put it across like so. So I'm going to see if I can just put a strip of glue on here. And hopefully I've put it exactly where I need it. Could probably just flip that to the back side because we'll cover that other side when we get around there. And I am not trimming the rough edges off here because I want this to be kind of a unique journal. And here's my number 3. Might glue him just like that. Maybe a little over here. Glue him down. And then we'll look at these comments or quotes that I just found and see if we want to add those. And then the next time we work on this will be January 1st. And I'm going to come on and do like real short segments. I'll try to have the 5 components together. And we'll just do a page each day. And then at the end of January, because I've done 3 pages now, we'll have the 3 days at the end of January where we can put our journal together. We can decide if we want to do a cover for it. And I'm thinking something chunky for the cover, like some really nice thick corrugated cardboard for the cover. So you might want to, if you don't have some, you might want to keep an eye out. You know, it only has to be as big as your index card pieces. And I liked these quotes on this strip because the paper is a little less white. You know what I mean? It's not in your face. But I do love these quotes. It says, "I'm sorry, did I just roll my eyes out loud? People who tolerate me on a daily basis, they're the real heroes. Relax, we're all crazy. It's not a competition." And that's a horrible idea. What time? I love that. So I'm going to cut some of these out here. This one says, "Shine like the stars." This one said, "See the world." "Hold on tight to your," and "Make a wish" are all on this little strip here. And then this one says, "Never stop exploring. Faraway places plus daring adventures." So I like the "See the world." And I might get some tacky glue over here for this. Ink your edges so it matches the rest of your pages. Whatever you start doing, if you want it to have some continuity throughout your piece, if you do something the same on every page, like add ink to the edges of stuff, it pulls everything together. I like the "Hold on to your dreams." And if you have some Tim Holtz tiny, what are they called? Tiny quotes or the snarky ones, or, you know, things like that, get them pulled together so that you can just pop them on your pages. I know Janet Nash has quotes on her page. If you want to go visit her, then you can get some of those off her page. And I like the "Never stop exploring." I've got a mess to clean up now because I need to turn around and read the story for today and schedule it for 8:30, because the stories, I try to have them scheduled so they go public at 8:30. So I'll do that. I just do it as a private live and then schedule it. So that's my 3 quotes there. I might put those sentiments in with the butterflies and moths for the next few days so that I don't have to dig for them again. So I'm just going to stick those in here. I'll ink them when we get to it. All right, and then we'll just glue these down. I'll quickly clean up my mess after I sign off. And again, mine's going to look weird because I'm doing the binding at the tops of the pages. I have ink everywhere on my fingers. And you can see the world even without leaving the house anymore because we have the internet. So I would say each day look up a different place and try to learn about it. We should all do that. The world is a big place. Not all of us are fortunate enough to have the funds to travel, but as I said, you can travel from your recliner these days. Okay. And then this one will flip down because there's my first page. All right. So that's our first 3 pages. And again, this project's going to be something that runs throughout January. At the end of January, we'll use the slip knot binding method and we'll put our little journals together. And I'm thinking a chunky cover, like a real thick corrugated cardboard for your front cover, and then just plain chipboard for the back cover would be a good cover. So here's my little first page. And then it's going to open like this. And to be able to have this so I can see it as I flip it up, I'm working it upside down, really. And then this will be the 3rd page, which we did not put our date on here. I'll just pop it on here. Let's see, where do we want it? All right. Cute and rustic. I like leaving the edges kind of hanging off where it's torn. I think that'll add to the character of the whole journal when it's finished. So thanks for hanging with me. I'm going to see if I can clear this frog before I start reading a children's story. And I will see you guys in the next one. And Merry Christmas, or whatever your holiday for whatever your family celebrates this time of year. Happy holidays. And I will see you later. Take care. Bye, guys.